So, um, if you have a question during the show, we want to hear it. Your input is a big part of what makes this show great, and we thrive on your energy and insights. Whether it's a quick comment, a thoughtful question, or an opinion, you just have to share. Don't hesitate to drop it in the chat. Now, if you want to make absolutely sure your message stands out and gets featured on the show, there's an easy way to do that. Use the super chat feature. Just click the $ at the bottom of the chat box to send in your super chat. This guarantees that your message gets on the air, and it's also a fantastic way to support our channel. We rely on your support to keep bringing you the sports content you love, and we appreciate every bit of it. So go ahead and let us know what you're thinking. Hit that super chat button, and let's keep this show as interactive and exciting as possible. And if you prefer, you can also go to gsmcpodcast.net to tip, donate, and leave a comment or question there. We couldn't do what we do without your amazing support, and we're so thankful to have you as part of our community. Time to go back though. Liverpool defeated Manchester United 7-0. Not 7-0, 3-0. I'm going back and thinking about that last game. That one game. Behind 2 goals from Luis Diaz in the 35th and 42nd minute. And then Salah was able to score third in the 56th minute. And look, we can read the stats. I don't think it really tells much of the story. 11 shots for Liverpool, 8 shots for United, 3 shots on target for Liverpool, 3 shots on target for United, 47% possession for Liverpool, 53% possession for United. But I have to say, within the run of play, Liverpool were far better, the better team. They look much more decisive, they were much more clinical. They had a much better cutting edge. Like early on in the game, United had some positive moments and really, performed well in the early parts of the game, but then there was a shift of momentum suddenly sort of halfway through the first half, and Liverpool just looked like the dominant team for there, looked more comfortable, looked more clinical, looked more decisive, looked more dangerous. Now the first 2 goals come, it's obvious. There came straight off Casemiro mistakes. In the first goal, he hits a ball that gets intercepted in midfield that leads straight to an attack on the other way. And the second, he is kind of being clumsy in possession, loses the ball, not on the edge of the box, but close to the penalty box, leads to quick chance for Liverpool. 2-0 Luis Diaz on the back post. And, and then he gets subbed off at halftime. That's something we'll touch on later on. But then the third goal comes on another play, another, counter attack. It reaches to Salah on the left-hand side. And I have to say, very, very poor goalkeeping. Originally when I watched that goal, I was, it just didn't seem right that was able to beat Onana from there. It was, on his near post. He was on the line for some reason. He was on the line, and it seemed like he was way too protecting of that back post, because that ball was not even in the corner. It was a well-placed, it had a pace on it, it was a well-placed strike, but it wasn't in the corner of the goal. It was enough centrally that Onana should have been able to save that. His starting positioning was bad, his reflexes was not good enough, and he shouldn't have been on the line. He should have been 1-2 yards above the line to lower the angle down. For me, that was a really poor mistake, and not a lot of people are talking about it. For some reason, but for me, you cannot get beat in that sort of positioning, so there are a lot of individual mistakes there, but overall, in terms of the game, United just got outplayed, and it's very disheartening for United. You see Jürgen Klopp leave, and you kind of have a sigh of relief. Okay, now this is the chance that we can, start competing with Liverpool again. And then the first game, they come to Old Trafford and they embarrass y'all 3-0. It's a tough pill for United, the players to swallow, the manager, the fans. It's really a tough pill to swallow. And the manager, Erik ten Hag, he's not doing himself favors. We know the kind of pressure he's under. How does Marcus Rashford play the amount of time he did? How does Garnacho be the one that gets pulled instead of Marcus Rashford, who has not done anything hasn't done anything this season, hasn't done anything the past year and a half was horrible this game. And what did I say before the game, by the way? What did I say before the game? Marcus Rashford. The key to whoever's playing on Trent Alexander-Arnold's side is to stay tight with him when he comes and he starts overlapping. How many times did Trent Alexander-Arnold have time to play a ball? How many times? And it led to the goal. It led to opportunities. It led to that goal with Diaz being on the back post. Because Marcus Rashford, he did a decent job tracking back, but he didn't do the finishing job of sticking tight to Trent Alexander-Arnold. He got a little lazy at the end, and Trent Alexander-Arnold had a constant amount of time to pick out passes and all that. And again, that's what I said. That's one of the keys in the game. Also, another key I said in the game is how United attack this game, how open they leave themselves. They looked very susceptible in transition again. Very, very susceptible. Now, the first two goals, you can't really blame their transition defense because their midfielder, their holding midfielder, the one that's supposed to run the show, really put them in awkward positioning, losing the ball in bad areas. But for me, I mean, again, their transition defending was not good enough, I have to say, with Manchester United. Just big problems with United, in my opinion. They didn't look... They had a very good start to the game. That's the sort of ironic part. They had a very good start of the game, but then suddenly just the momentum shifted completely the other way. And now going with the Casemiro thing getting subbed off at half is not, we never want to see a sort of player playing at this sort of level, get humiliated like that, who's had some of the best highs in his career when you talk about the Champions Leagues, the La Liga titles. He's done it all, Club World Cup. But it's just clearly off it, he's making mistakes that are costing the team, especially in this game, and he just doesn't look like the player he once was. And it's sad about, I don't think Casemiro is done or anything. I think this is a bad performance, for him. And it happens. You remember Thiago Silva in his opening game for Chelsea, or for one of the first few games, he made a horrendous mistake to West Ham. Against West Brom? It ended up costing us points there. So look, I'm not here to bash Casemiro, but he's just not the player that he once was. And Ugarte coming in there will make a difference, for sure, because he'll do the defensive work that Casemiro can't do as well anymore with the athleticism. And he also has a good enough ability to control the ball, to control tempo in midfield. And Kobbie Mainoo, defensively, that's not his game. We've realized this for now. He doesn't defend, so it'll also be a protection for Kobbie Mainoo being in there. Xerxes wasn't really involved enough. The few times that he got in, he wasn't really great. There was one play where he kind of waited for the ball to come to him instead of attacking, going through the ball. He sort of waited, allowed the defender to sort of to make a play on the ball. And then, with United, it's just a never-ending cycle of disappointment. I just have to say, as far as Liverpool, great performance. Clinical, dangerous, decisive, ruthless. Mohamed Salah, for me, he's still up there with one of the best players in the world. We'll talk about Erling Haaland later being potentially the best player in the world. For me, Mo Salah is still there. The quality he has. And I questioned him a little bit at the end of the season, last season. Is he declining? No, he's not declining. He's still a great player. He still has pace. He still has that goal-scoring knack to him. He's a dominant player playing on that right-hand side. We see what Luis Diaz can do as well, getting 2 goals. His pace, his skill level. Gravenberch has been sort of a revelation for Liverpool this season, sort of playing in an unnatural role, sort of playing a little bit deeper in midfield. He's been very, very comfortable, and he's played there like he's played there all of his career. He's been very, very good. Defensively as well, Liverpool were very, very solid, didn't give up much. We know Alisson, still the best keeper in the world. For me, or one of the best goalkeepers in the world. For me, Liverpool, this is a 10 out of 10 performance, and they're really building themselves up as a credible title contender, which I was sort of doubting entering the season. I believe I had Liverpool 4th. I didn't even have them in the top 3. Well, they're looking very credible. They're looking ruthless. They're looking hungry, and for me, they are a team not to be reckoned with, because look, you see the performance they had, and then they have the ability to bring on like Darwin Nunez and Cody Gakpo off the bench, that's a really talented team, and they're playing some really, really good football. I love the way Arne Slot has this team sort of set up. We're getting more and more of an idea of how this team wants to go about it game by game. For me, I have to say, Liverpool are a team not to be reckoned with, for sure. They're a very brilliant team, very good in terms of all aspects. There was one thing I wanted to point out that I forgot to point out on the show. Yes, there was some interesting comments that Salah made regarding Liverpool, saying, he essentially said, here, I don't want to quote him. I said, this is what Mohamed Salah said. I had a good summer and had a long time to myself to try to stay positive because, as you know, it's my last year at the club. I just want to enjoy it and I don't want to think about it. I feel like I'm free to play football, and then we'll see what happens next year. Yeah, that's very interesting. Number one, nobody's running away with those sort of comments. Usually when someone makes those sort of comments, especially a player like Salah, it's the people are gonna start talking. Oh, this is his last season. This is his, this is his sort of last season, his farewell season. Blah blah blah. When Jürgen Klopp, stepped away, at the amount of report. This didn't really get that much, attention in the media. Which was really shocking to me because he's essentially saying this is my last year at the club. And the talk around the media is Liverpool need to do everything they can to keep him. And people are sort of looking at his comments as sort of a negotiation tactic. But I don't know. And I hope it's not his last year at Liverpool. He's at this sort of level. He cannot go to Saudi. He can just offer so much still to football. And I think it's very vital for Liverpool to sort of, make that decision. Not make that decision, but to get the contract done. If it comes down to the fact, if it's a money matter or anything, I think Liverpool, need to put the money on the table. And hopefully we get to see Salah more in the Premier League, longer at Liverpool, because he's just such a talent. He's such a talent.